I didn't plan to write this story. It just came. Like a memory that never happened to me, but somehow still belongs to me. I was thinking about how pain travels through time. How even as adults, we carry sounds we heard as children. Not nursery rhymes or lullabies, but the kind of sounds that make you flinch. Loud, sudden, familiar. This story is told from the perspective of a 10-year-old boy. A boy who hears too much, knows too much, and can do nothing except listen. I wrote it to understand that kind of helplessness, not from the outside looking in, but from inside the body of a child, frozen in front of the TV, trying not to hear what he hears every day. I imagined what it meant to be that boy, not just sad, but confused, torn between love and fear. He's just correcting her with love. I've heard women say that. That line haunted me. So I wrote a story where that lie breaks. It's not the sound of a slap that stings, it's the sound of nothing, the absence. I wrote this story 2 years or a year ago. I could not remember when I wrote it, but it was one of those stories now because I've always started to learn this for myself. I never ever finished, but it's actually a good way for me to do something. That's by the way. So I wrote this story about a year or 2 years ago. I can't remember, but I stumbled upon this when I was going through my bookmarks on Twitter, and I was like, how relevant is this story even till now? And I just knew that I needed to take the story out, revamp it, and then put it out there on my Medium page. So the story there is on my Medium page, and it's not really it's inspired by different events, different true events, and it's more like an outlet of me, of how I see the stories, of how I think when I hear the stories on the news, on Twitter, and here and there. So it's just something I wanted to pinpoint, that in as much as I wrote this 2 years ago, it never stopped. It never stops. The stories keep coming again and again and again and again. There are varying degrees of ridiculous reasons why a woman was killed, why a wife was killed, a girlfriend was killed, a daughter was killed. It's always something. It's always one ridiculous. Like, it's crazy to think about the ridiculous story of, oh, she was killed because she could not make Akam very well. It's very crazy, the stories you get. But I just knew that I needed to talk more about what really happens to the survivors of femicide, in the sense that the children, the family members, how do they navigate life after this terrible event. The story is about a little boy who witnessed the murder of his mother. I decided to just choose a particular scene to kind of encompass all the years and years of abuse in just one scene, in just one moment. Familiar Sounds is a short story about the pain that lingers, the unhealed trauma that somehow still navigates our lives. It's not just a short story about something that happened to a boy. It's more like the reflection of our society, in the sense that what's the psychosocial impact of this kind of trauma on the people that are left behind, on the children, on the family. What exactly happens to them? And at the end of the story, if you read the story on my Medium, you begin to see how even at a very much older age, the pain still lingers. This is something that still plays on and on in the head. We all know that femicide is the killing of a woman just because she's a woman, and we will dig more into that. This is just the reality of this here in Nigeria. You keep seeing stories of women who are murdered, of women young girls who are killed, used for ritual killings, so to say, and there are a lot of things that goes on and on. And I've been close witness to someone who has experienced this, and I kept wondering, so what goes on? What's the next plan? How do these people navigate life? What are the things that are in place for them to continue to live? Because in as much as you've said, oh, this is it, you've done the legal process on arresting this person and doing this, and what about the people that are left behind, the children? What goes on? Are they some kind of safe haven therapy where they are placed on? Are they followed? I think this is that little gap that is left, and I wanted to use this story, or I said that this story is going to reflect more on that. I think this particular story, it has kind of navigated my life, or is navigating the career direction I want to follow professionally, that is, and career-wise, in the sense that I want to be able to tell the stories, tell through media, of course, what happens, how do we create these safe spaces, how do we help these people heal through time. We need to understand that it doesn't just stop there. It doesn't just stop at, oh, the culprit has been apprehended, the culprit has been sent to prison, whatnot and whatnot. It goes beyond that. We need to look into these families. How are they moving forward? How do they move forward? Are we able to treat this as a whole instead of just working on one part? People are left unhealed, and that kind of social impact can negatively affect the way you move around life, the way people interact with other people, and it plays out in so many ways. It might not be physically, but emotionally, it is a very scary something. And I want you guys to just join me, reflect on this, and let's see, what do we do? What can we do to help? What can we do to help? What can we do to let people know that it's just more than treating this legally? We need to treat the source. We need to treat what exactly is causing this situation, this kind of stories. In as much as right now is fictional, but this imitates life. Art imitates life, and that was what I was trying to do with this short story. So let's just reflect back and see what can be done and what we can do as a people to help the society we live in. We treat from the very source of why these killings, why femicide keeps going on, how we can apprehend these culprits, how we can treat this more severely instead of just looking at it as just murder. We look at it as a very specific kind of murder, as femicide, and then we also look at it beyond the case, beyond the femicide case. We look beyond it. We talk about the families, the people involved. How do we navigate these people? What would have caused this? The children involved. How do we create safe space? How do we put them in therapy? Make them not feel so alone, if I'm making more sense. So that's basically what this story was all about for me, and I hope that you read it on Medium and you get to see where I was coming from by writing the story. And see you guys next time. And if you do like what you see here, do subscribe and leave a comment down below.